Wait a minute, that's not right. Jimmy Uso makes his in-ring return in a Battle of the Brothers. Both LA Knight and Jade and Bianca want to again prove they are fighting champions, and a suspended fighter and several Raw stars interrupt the proceedings. Okay, in the news! In the news indeed, it was SmackDown from Greenville, South Carolina, and indeed, I am back from the hurricane, and all is well, so it is great to be back in Tampa Bay. Anyways, we had a big show on SmackDown with 2 championship matches, so we will of course start there with Carmelo Hayes taking on LA Knight for the United States Championship. And Knight proved to be the better man early and often in this one, as he was able to land several strikes and get Hayes to the outside of the ring, where Hayes saw Andrade waiting in the wings. But we have to say Andrade never interfered in this match, so he was just there to take it all in. But Hayes was still distracted by this, and Knight was able to take advantage for several minutes until Knight took his eyes off of the prize and tried to have Andrade shake his hand yet again, which of course went nowhere. Nonetheless, Knight eventually regained control yet again and had an impressive flurry of moves with an atomic drop, a clothesline, a pop-up power slam, and an elbow drop. He then also went off the top rope for an elbow drop later on. Well, the best thing that Hayes did in this match was stopping a BFT by getting his hands down, kind of like Tiffany Stratton did just last week, so I guess he was very closely watching her match last week. Knight yet again tried a BFT and Hayes flipped over the top to get away from it, but Knight was not about to let it end there, as he immediately then hit the BFT to get the win and retain the championship for his 4th successful title defense already, and he continues to be on a roll, winning his 7th straight match and goes to 12-3 in all one-on-one action. Well, for Hayes, this stopped a 2-match winning streak, and it was his first chance at winning the title, so he's 0-1 in title matches, and he's 5-8-1 in all one-on-one matches. And then he talked to Aldis backstage, saying it was unfair for Andrade to be at ringside during this match. But Aldis says, well, they're in a 3-3 tie right now, so if he wants another shot at the US title, he'll have to beat Andrade in Game 7. In our other championship match, we had Jade and Bianca defending the women's tag team championships against NXT's Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. And those two were not messing around, attacking both Jade and Bianca right off the bell and gaining an advantage with several team maneuvers, including landing their MKO finisher on Bianca. But fortunately for the champs, Jade was able to help break it up. Then the match spilled to the outside, where Chelsea Green for some reason decided to get into Lash Legend's face, and during this distraction, Bianca was able to get out of a hold and tag in Jade, where Jade landed a big boot on Jackson, and then those two teamed up for their DDT, German suplex finisher, to get the win and defend the title for the 2nd time in their 2nd reign, and they go to 10-0 in all traditional tag matches. With that early flurry, Jackson and Legend seemed like they might just get the win in their main roster debut, and if that had happened, it would have been another one of those cases like the Unholy Union, where you can't give them a chance because they just might win, as Lash and Jakara were just 2-2 in traditional tags and on a 2-match losing streak in those traditional tags, and 2-4 in all tag matches on NXT this year, as they certainly didn't deserve to have another shot at the title after losing to the Unholy Union at Great American Bash. Well, nonetheless, it still was a pretty good debut for those two, so perhaps we'll see them down the road. In our other women's match, we had a non-title match between Naomi and Nia Jax, which was set up after Nia called out Liv Morgan, who she is supposed to take on at Crown Jewel. And Nia called Liv a little girl. Then she grabbed Tiffy and said that after she annihilates Liv, that will be Tiffy's opportunity to cash in Money on the Bank on Liv. But at that point, Naomi came out and said that Nia is only the champion due to Tiffany's help, and that she does not need any help to defeat Nia. So Nia said that she wanted to fight her right now, and so that match was set up when Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and Raquel Rodriguez all came out to watch the match. Naomi looked pretty good during this match as she landed her head scissors driver and her split leg drop, and much later hit a corkscrew plancha to the outside. But when Nia rolled back into the ring, she distracted the ref, and Tiffy took advantage by kicking Naomi. But when Tiffy went to hit Naomi with the briefcase, Raquel came up from behind and grabbed it from her. So Naomi took care of Tiffy with a big boot to the head. Naomi then went to the top rope, but Nia was able to recover and throw Naomi to the mat, where she went up to finish her off with an annihilator, but Raquel got up onto the apron and distracted the ref, allowing Liv to use the briefcase to hit Nia. So Naomi followed that up with a powerbomb and really covered her up for a pin to get the surprising upset victory. So for Naomi, she's now won 2 matches in 2 weeks and is back above 500 at 6-5-2. And with a non-title match win, perhaps this will set her up for a title shot at Nia. But Nia's dominant run of 9 straight wins comes crashing down to an end, and this was her first loss since April 29th, when she lost to her next challenger, Liv Morgan. And lastly, in our main event, Solo Sikoa took on the returning Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy was actually the one that started the show, returning after 6 long months, saying that Sikoa could not even fight him face to face. But Reigns then also showed up and made his way to the ring and told the crowd to acknowledge Big Jim. But Reigns said that he is not an older brother, he is not a wise man, and he does not come up with creative, manipulative plans. And, well, for once, I guess I can agree with Roman Reigns that he is none of those things. He is certainly not wise or creative at all. He simply needs help every single time to win a match. So yeah, Roman, good job, you actually got something right for a change. However, he then said that he's also a tribal chief and takes what is his, saying that he had all of the money, all of the power, and all of the respect. But he lost all of it. And Roman, come on now, I bet I know that one way to have all the money, power, and respect is not by whining and crying on your couch for 4 months and then taking another 2 months to have your very first match since WrestleMania. So you're actually gonna have to put in some real work if you want to get all of those things back. And preferably, you should probably do it the right way and win these matches on your own. But I know and you know that you simply are not good enough to do that. And in fact, Jimmy also agreed with me there by saying that they are not the GOATs and not the ones right now, and they need help. But Jimmy said he only knows one other person who might be willing to help. But of course, Roman was too stubborn and said no yeet. So unfortunately for Roman, it looks like he just might be getting beat up into perpetuity by the rest of the bloodline. And yes, we did actually have a match here, and Jimmy was kind of going at it 1-on-4 as Jacob Fatu and Tonga Loa interfered 4 times throughout the middle of the match. But when we finally got to the end of the match, all 3 other members of the bloodline took turns getting up onto the apron. Now Jimmy was able to first knock off Fatu and then knock off Loa, but Tama Tonga was able to jump back down in the nick of time. So when Jimmy turned around, Sikoa was there lining up for a Samoan spike, but Jimmy reversed it into a Samoan drop and then went up to the top rope for an Uso splash. But yet again, Jacob Fatu was able to yank Jimmy's legs when Tama Tonga distracted the ref. So from there, Sikoa hit a Samoan spike to win the match. And of course, all 4 members of the bloodline then beat down Jimmy right after the bell, only to have Roman Reigns then come out, who took out Fatu, Tonga, and Loa until he faced off against Sikoa when Fatu was able to recover and take out Reigns pretty easily into the corner. Then Jimmy tried to come back, but Fatu landed a super kick and a mighty moonsault on him as well. So the other members of the Bloodline finished it off, holding up Reigns for Sikoa to hit one more Samoan spike. And with both men down, Jimmy yet again reiterated to Reigns that those two needed some help. Well, for the match itself, Sikoa got a badly needed win, even though it took 5 bits of interference to secure it for him. Nonetheless, it stops a 3-match losing streak, and he goes to just 2, 6, and 1 in one-on-one matches. But for Jimmy, I don't know whether we can even call this ring rust, because he was just 1-7 in one-on-one matches in 2023, and now falls to just 0-2 in 2024. And beyond the mat for SmackDown, AJ Styles was diagnosed with a mid-foot ligament strain, so we'll see if he's able to make a quick recovery and announce an actual retirement this time. Kevin Owens was apparently suspended for something that happened in Bad Blood, but they just never told us or showed us what it was, so perhaps we will never know. Nonetheless, he interrupted Jakara and Lash as they were making their way to the ring for the Women's Tag Team Championship match, but the WWE quickly cut his mic, so he then stole Corey Graves' headset and said that Cody Rhodes turned on him. So I don't know what Rhodes possibly could have done other than teaming with his biggest enemy in Roman Reigns. Why would you do that, Cody? You're crazy, man. You're crazy. That was not very smart. But I guess at least you got a win, and now it looks like your own beat-up buddy friend is now turning on you. So that's not very smart yet again now, Cody. Nonetheless, Rhodes had to be restrained as he tried to make his way to the ring when Randy Orton also appeared and said that he would talk to Owens. But as he tried to restrain KO, Owens hit him with a back elbow, which led Orton to deliver a forearm to KO's face, and KO walked away. But later, both Orton and Aldis spoke to Rhodes outside of his RV and said that Rhodes needed to get out of there and that Orton would try to talk some sense into KO. But as Aldis was speaking to DIY and the Street Profits, they heard some noise, and Aldis found that KO was beating up Orton just outside of the arena, and Orton had to be attended to. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens between all 3 of those men. But in a surprise appearance after Naomi and Nia's match, Rhea Ripley shockingly returned to SmackDown and went right after Raquel Rodriguez, and then followed that up by going after Liv, and then when she turned her attention to Dom, Nia also wanted a piece of her, so Nia was able to beat her down as well, leaving the ring standing tall. And lastly, Santos Escobar complained to Aldis, saying that all of Legado del Fantasma deserved some title shots. So Aldis said that he had something planned for Los Garza next week, that if they beat a special opponent, they would be in line for a tag team title shot. Which leads us to a quick Detroit themed vignette saying that there would be a debut next week on SmackDown for some unknown group, only showing the words rat-a-tat-tat in spray paint, and then following that up with MCMG. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see who exactly that might be. And with that, let's go to STFs. And in this week's STFs, we of course start with the Bloodline edition, where Jacob Fatu and Tonga Loa both interfered during the main event 5 total times, with Fatu interfering 4 of those times, so Fatu's fine will be larger, but both Fatu and Loa will get fines. And then after the match, all 4 members of the Bloodline attacked Jimmy Uso, so Sikoa, Fatu, Tonga, and Loa will all pick up fines. But this one was really the KO show, as he first interrupted the Women's Tag Team Championship match, so he will get a 2-week suspension for that. But during this interruption, he also attacked Randy Orton with a back elbow, so he'll also get a fine. Then later, he was not done with Orton beating him down outside the arena, so he'll get an additional 1-week suspension. Then Nia and Naomi also had an interaction, first with Nia pushing down Naomi just after she said she wanted a match. so Nia will get a fine for that. Then, during the match, Tiffany Stratton attacked Naomi at ringside, kicking her in the gut, so she will get a fine. Still during the match, Raquel Rodriguez distracted the referee, and then Liv Morgan, who now had the briefcase, hit Nia with it while she was ready to go for an annihilator, so both of them will get fines. And lastly, Rhea Ripley made a surprise appearance on SmackDown, taking down Raquel, Liv, and then even Nia Jax, so Rhea will get a 2-week suspension, first for showing up on a show where she was not allowed to be, and then also getting a fine for the attacks. LA Knight and Jade Bianca both continued to be great fighting champions with successful title defenses. Kevin Owens and Rhea Ripley both dropped in unexpectedly to just keep fighting with brutality. And the Bloodline took care of little brother, as Jimmy Uso has to plead to Roman Reigns to get some help. I'm Dr. O'Kay reporting on the WWE, where everything is okay.